Hello and welcome back to Otte MCOG. Today I'm going to talk about the Masteries. And the Masteries are pretty important in the game because they are basically what you start with every fight, and they're going to help you in the fight. So as you can see, I'm going to go through my Masteries, talk a little about the different things in the Mastery. This is my setup, and I know that every setup is unique and can be discussed what you think is the best. I use my masteries without resetting them basically all the time because I think it's a waste of units going back and forth if you have one that fits you for all game content. For me, the most important mastery 3 is offense. Offense is by far the most important because for me it's about the shorter the fight is, the better it is for you in the game, the less time you have to make mistakes. So some of these can be different from player to player, but what's pretty consistent is that you have 5 in precision and 5 in cruelty. Some have only 4 in one of them, I can't remember which one, but I really think it's a must to have 5 in each. You might as well max out your damage. I know a lot of people have courage, but I really don't like courage because for me it's a mastery that only does something if you got hit, and if you got hit you did something wrong. And I'm not saying that I don't get hit because obviously I get hit, but a lot of the time it won't do anything, and I don't really like masteries that don't do anything some of the time. I know glass cannon is also one that is very debated. I have it maxed, and that's because 7% extra attack is really nice for me. I know you lose some health, but in most fights it doesn't matter if you have 40k health or 35k health, for instance, because if you get a full combo in the hard content, you're gonna die anyway. So it doesn't matter if you have 35 or 40k health. It does matter if you have to hit them 100 times or you have to hit them 90 times. Then I have the max suicide build, and I know this is very discussed as well. Some people love liquid courage and double edge, and I'm one of them. I really love suicides. The only downside to me is the recoil. The recoil is super annoying, and as you can see, I haven't even unlocked the other ones because it's just a sacrifice to get to the last part of your masteries. I don't want to max it because I don't want to take damage. How I usually do is I don't use my specials when I use my champs. I only use special 3 because special 3 then you don't take damage back from the recoil. So then I have 1 point in each of these: despair, deep wounds, and assassin. And I really like all 3 actually, but it's points that I need somewhere else. And the reason I have 1 in each is because they give a big PI jump, like the power index on each champ. As you can see when I look here, now it's just loading. My PI on the champs are really high. It's 26,000 on the Doctor Doom, etc. If you look at profiles like mine, they would be a lot lower. And that's because I like to maximize my PI on my mastery settings. So that's why I have 1 in each of these. The assassin is really nice, but the same logic as with courage can be used, that sometimes it just doesn't do anything. The despair is super nice for stuff when they regenerate, but also have some limitations when you don't have a regening champ. And the deep wounds is either insane or not used at all, so that's mainly to get the assassin. When I'm running suicides, I have to have some defensive points, otherwise it's gonna be pretty bad because I'm gonna stop healing. And it's really important for me to have 3 in willpower because I have to regen some of my damage back from the suicides. But I actually think that even though you're not running suicides, this is one of the most important mastery points, because Marvel Contest of Champions is all about surviving. No matter what game mode you're in, the more health you can take to the next fight, the better. I used to have Coagulate also actually, but I didn't think that it was good enough, and I wanted points in other stuff. I have 1 point in the 2 defensive ones because they don't do much. Then I have 2 points in solve to regen something back. That could be 1 or 3 points as well, but I found a good mix. Then I have 3 in recovery, and that's pretty important because you need to regen back. And then I like the block proficiency and and the perfect block just to reduce damage when I do blocks. I actually used to have 2 points in stand your ground, but often it didn't do anything for me. So it's really nice for the PI, but it's also 2 wasted points in a sense if you don't use it much. And the middle ones I don't like at all, so I don't have any points. The last one is the hardest one. I really I really like this mastery, Mystic Dispersion, but it's just so hard for me to find points that I want to put in it. Um, so if I'm not running suicides, I always have points in the Mystic Dispersion. The most important one is Parry. It's the most essential mastery point you would need in the game. I use it basically all fights unless they're stun immune, and it's an easy way to control your game. I only have 1 point in Limber. I know a lot of high stakes players have more points in Limber because it's so good for Alliance War defense, but because we're not really pushing Alliance War, I think it's wasted points. Because if you get stunned anyway, you're gonna take a full combo anyway, so I don't think it's that needed. Only 1 point in Dexterity, and that's because the damage from the Dexterity doesn't matter. All that matters is you can dodge the specials, so more than 1 point is wasted. Then I have the Stupefy. I really like the Stupefy that all the debuffs on your stuns are getting longer, so you have more time to hit the opponent. And I think having 3 here is a must for me at least. I really like this mastery. It's really good. And then these 2 are not needed, but what I would say is when you inflict a stun, so when you parry a lot, then you reduce the enemy regeneration and their power gains, and that's pretty nice when you stun a lot, as I do. And I also have 2 points in Pacify, and that's just to get the ability accuracy down so that they have less chance of popping those. And both of these masteries give pretty high PI points as well, so it's pretty good for, especially when you do arena, that the higher the PI you have, the more points you would do in arena. So I really hope you enjoyed my mastery setup. If I had to do it without the suicides, that would be taking these 7 points off, and I would add them in the Mystic Dispersion. Or, depending on what I was doing, maybe add it to Assassin or Deep Wounds, depending on which champs I use. But I really overall like this mastery setup, and if you don't know what to do, you can just screenshot my 3 and you can copy it. Feel free to try it out. I hope you enjoyed the mastery guide.